Okay, so by now you guys have probably played The Last of Us 1 and 2. It is without a doubt my favorite game that I have played in the 37 years that I have been a gamer. It is amazing. I know that's kind of big shoes to fill. It's a lot to say, Chris. Remember Duck Hunt? Yeah, it was great. But now that HBO is going to do a live action The Last of Us TV series, I thought it would be great to do a fan casting for that series before they actually, cast actors. So this is my fan cast for The Last of Us. Let's get into it. Hello, all you beautiful people out there in the YouTube land. Welcome to Nerd News. This is a show created for nerds by a nerd. In case this is your first time here, hi, how's it going? And if you are a gamer, and you have a PlayStation, then chances are you have played this game. The reason why I say PlayStation is because it's a PlayStation exclusive. And if you're a fan of very good storytelling and infected zombie things running around, then hey, this game and this episode is right up your creepy alley. But before we get into today's fan casting episode, if this is your first time here, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that like, subscribe, and the notification bell so you can be notified of all episodes as I post them. Well, with that being said, let's just take a big bite out of this episode. Get it? Because it's a zombie, because they are. So like I said, The Last of Us is a PlayStation exclusive. It is created by the amazing gaming company Naughty Dog. And in August 2014, 8 million copies were sold from the first game. And on PlayStation 4, I believe it's about 1 million for the second one. It is the highest grossing pre-order game so far on PlayStation to date. And this is one of those rare games where, of course, gameplay is important, but the story alone just sucks you in like a tractor beam. The Last of Us is kind of like Game of Thrones in the sense of you get really emotionally involved. You just get so invested in these characters that you start to care for them and you worry about them through the game. So let me just give you a quick synopsis of the game in case you haven't played it so that you know what's going on. So set in the post-apocalyptic United States, the game follows two characters, Ellie and Joel. Now Ellie and Joel work together to cross the country to find a cure for this outbreak, if you will. But little do they know, Ellie is immune. And once they find an area where they can make a cure, well, that's all I'm gonna say because the first game ends pretty dramatically and pretty brilliantly, for that matter. So I'm excited that HBO is going to be doing this as a TV series because it's going to be a bloody, pun intended, TV series, I'm telling you guys. So when HBO announced that this was going to be one of their next projects, fans just started going crazy. Who's gonna play who? What actors are gonna be great? What actresses can embody Ellie? Well, you know what? I'm gonna break this down and I'm gonna cast who I think should be in this show. So there are a lot of good characters that make up this game, but we're just gonna focus on the first game and we're only gonna focus on 4 characters. We're gonna focus on David, Tommy, Ellie, and of course Joel. So with that, let's start the list off, shall we? So we're gonna start this off with one of the intense characters of the game, and that of David. Now in the game, David has done some pretty unspeakable things. Like bloody. But with David's complex history, you start to empathize with him, and you just want him to be happy. Just a smile on his face. So you need an actor who can come across as both relatable and deadly at the same time. An actor who can just emote these emotions, but you can see that little breaking point. You know what I mean? Much like Britney Spears, and she broke in 2017 with a shaved head and the umbrella hitting the car. Sorry, Britney Spears, if you're watching this, that was insensitive. So for the role of David, I'm gonna cast David Tennant. Now, you all know David Tennant. He is best known for playing Doctor Who, and of course, one of the coolest villains in Marvel, and that of the Purple Man in Jessica Jones. Now, David has this wonderful, unique ability to be a great character actor. He can play this really cocky, kind of arrogant doctor who is lovable, but also a very creepy character in Jessica Jones, but also in Harry Potter, he was just downright creepy. Remember the thing with the tongue? Because, the snake? Okay, that wasn't creepy, I just looked like a goat. But he was memorable and terrifying at the same time, and that's kind of what you need. Now, this show, yes, they're infected, they're kind of zombie-ish, but it's also grounded in reality in that of the drama that goes on with surviving a post-apocalyptic world, and just that balance of how do you manage things, guys. And I think David could definitely take this character and just use those complex elements and make him relatable and something that you're gonna follow and you're gonna invest in. He's a really good actor, so I think David would fit the role of David perfectly. So David Tennant, my good old chap, you are David. I feel like I'm an echo. So now we're gonna move on to Joel's brother and that of Tommy. Now, like I said, Tommy is the younger brother of Joel, being one of the main characters of the game. Now, Tommy is a loyal brother. He's very compassionate. He cares about Joel, he cares about Ellie, and he just wants to live, live your life and obviously survive as best as you can throughout the, So Tommy is this blonde, long-haired, kind of scruffy looking guy. He has that face of like, I trust you. I trust you. Here, hold my baby. I trust you. He's that type of guy, you know what I mean? But also when push comes to shove, he will do what he can to protect his own. So you need kind of a pretty person who's also a rough person and at the same time is a lovable person. So that's why I am casting Game of Thrones alumni Nikolai Castor-Waldo. I can never say his name. Jaime Lannister. We're just Jamie. Now the crazy thing about Nikolai, a lot of fans want him to play Joel, and I completely understand why. And if he was to actually be Joel in the show, I would love it. I'd be fine with it. But the way that he played Jaime Lannister, in the sense of he started off with his character being this like cocky, this Kingslayer, like, yes, I'm Jaime Lannister, I have gold locks of hair. We always pay our dues, whatever, I'm beautiful. And then, stuff happens and he loses his hand and he starts to get more humble and he starts to take care of his own, and you really relate and feel for this character. And I think that Nikolai can take those traits that he put into Jaime and easily translate it to Tommy. Plus, it doesn't hurt that Nikolai looks exactly like Tommy. I mean, come on. So Nikolai, my man, saddle up, get your hand back on, you are my Tommy. So next we're gonna move on to one of the main characters, well, the second main character, and that of Ellie. Now, Ellie is a very interesting character to cast, just because she's younger. Well, if you're going from the first Last of Us, she's younger. But at this point, she can take care of herself, but she's still figuring things out. She doesn't know she's immune to the infection yet, so she's still freaking out with everything that's going on. Joel is always taking care of her when stuff goes wrong, so she's always leaning towards Joel for some help and support when she needs it. So I think we need an actress who can emote anger, compassion, being just afraid, and just, encapsulating this into a character that you are going to love. There are so many good actresses out there that could fit this bill of Ellie like to the T, like perfectly. But, going down the list of actresses, I think I found one that would really lend herself and her voice to a character like this. And for me, I'm gonna cast Ellen Page. Now, Ellen Page is obviously best known for Juno and her take on Kitty Pryde in X-Men, which she was a perfect Kitty Pryde. That was great casting. Good job, Bryan Singer. The funny thing about Ellen Page is during the development of the first Last of Us, Ellen Page accused Naughty Dog of taking her likeness and putting it into Ellie. And to be completely honest, I can understand that because they look identical, and if they did, this casting works. But Naughty Dog changed the look of that character to reflect the actress who was voicing her, so they dodged a little lawsuit, I guess? It's not like when Lindsay Lohan got mad at Grand Theft Auto for taking her likeness. Do you remember that? Oh, Lindsay Lohan. Now, it's not a stretch of the imagination to put Ellen Page in this role because she looks identical to Ellie. Ellen Page definitely has the acting chops. I mean, look at the movie Hard Candy. It's a very little darker kind of a movie, but she plays her character very well in that. She understands emotion. And obviously, Ellen Page understands humor because of Juno. And Ellie, throughout the games, she's very quick. So she has these little moments of humor just sprinkled into the story because it's deep, guys. The story's deep. The last thing I saw Ellen Page in was the Umbrella Academy, and she was fantastic in that. But Ellen Page has all the makings to be a good Ellie, and I think you could fall for that character with her attached to it. So Ellen Page, you know who you are? You're Ellie. All right, guys, so it's time for the last casting on this list in that of the man himself, Joel. So Joel is the driving force in Ellie's life. Joel is the one who is taking care of her throughout all this crazy business. And you can tell that his love for her is felt in every cutscene. He just takes care of her, and he does a dang good job at it too. I mean, I wish I had a guardian like that. Phew. I mean, Joel is rough and he's gritty. He has that like manly air to him. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those guys you don't want to mess with, but you also are like, yeah, we're gonna be best friends because you're pretty cool, and he played the guitar very well. He is just a good man, and you need an actor who can both be intimidating, who is likable, who you see them and you just smile because you know deep down inside they are a dang good person. Now, yet again, there are a lot of good actors who could possibly play Joel, but I think you know who I'm going to cast. That's right, I'm casting Hugh Jackman. So to be honest, you thought the same thing when you were watching Logan. Specifically, every time I see the photo of Logan and Laura in the car and they're driving away, it looks like Joel and Ellie. Come on. I mean, seriously, after that movie came out, the memes went wild. They're like, well, you know, if they're ever to do a Last of Us, we found our Joel and Ellie. But Hugh Jackman, okay, so let's get to Hugh Jackman here for a second, all right? Besides Wolverine, we know he has that animal magnetism, pun intended, but his dramatic acting is great. If you've ever seen Prisoners, I think it's Prisoners. IMDb, it's the best. Yes, it's Prisoners. It was with Jake Gyllenhaal. His performance in that is fantastic. It's about his son got kidnapped and he is just, you know, give me my son. But Hugh Jackman has everything about him that makes up Joel. Yet again, I'm gonna go back to Logan. So back to Logan, specifically the scene where he's finally happy. He's sitting at the dinner table with that random family, Professor X, and he has that moment. You see that shot of him smiling and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm happy. Hugh Jackman is very relatable. He's very likable. You want him to succeed, and he can carry a movie like that perfectly. And plus the chemistry with Hugh and Ellen Page, they've already worked together in Days of Future Past, so they have a relationship. And also, yes, I understand that Ellen Page is a little bit older, but physically she does look younger to play a character of that age. And Hugh Jackman is older, and we know what he looks like with a beard, and you just get a little bit more makeup to make him a little bit older, and they are a perfect fit. They look identical. It's like cosplay heaven. But Mr. Jackman, if this episode ever comes across your YouTube feed, you should consider it. Talk to your agents, make this happen, get Ellen Page on board, because you would be fantastic. So, Hugh Jackman, you're my Joel. So there you have it, guys. This is my short little list on who I think should play the main characters in the Last of Us TV series on HBO. And like I said, guys, if you don't own the game, the remastered version is about 20 bucks on the PlayStation Store. And The Last of Us 2 is already out, so you can play that as soon as you beat the first one. But guys, that is it. Let me know what you thought of my choices in the comments below. I want to know who you would cast as Ellie and Joel. And that's it, guys, but I'm gonna leave you with a little piece of advice. So if you buy The Last of Us, the best way to play it is only play it at night with the lights off. And if you have headphones like Turtle Beach headphones, wear those while you're playing it because it's creepy. Like, I jumped a few times. That's right. This manly man has jumped a few. Just buy it and play it. It's great.